today's gospel, we have a miracle story located within a miracle story. Jesus is approached by the leader of the synagogue, Jairus, who says that his daughter is gravely ill. And so Jesus, being a healer, begins going to his daughter to heal her. When suddenly, a woman in the crowd just barely touches his cloak because she has faith that if she only just touches his cloak, she'll be healed. Now, perhaps there's something going on there. Perhaps she's afraid because of the religious system of the time and place that she might ritually defile him if she touched him, his body, his hand, or his, to tap him on the shoulder. So she just touches the edge of his cloak. And he knows that power has gone forth from him. And he turns around and he says, what's happened? Who is this? The woman, knowing what has happened, right, it says she came in fear and trembling and fell down before him and told him the whole truth. She had been suffering for 12 years of her life, and nothing could help her. She'd spent all her money on doctors and cures, and nothing helped. And she just had faith that if somehow she reached out to Jesus, she would be made well. And she was. Then we have the people from the household of the synagogue leader, Jairus. They come and they say, "Teacher, your daughter is dead, so do not bother Jesus any longer." And a little bit insensitive, I think, and the insensitivity keeps coming, because then when we get to the house, Jesus says, "Don't worry, she's just asleep." And of course, that was really shocking for people, and they start to laugh. And I know I myself would be really angry if someone came in and my loved one was dead, and they said, no, don't worry, they're just sleeping. That would be pretty, shocking. So, but Jairus had faith. He sent everyone out, and Jesus healed the girl. She was 12 years old. Now, there's a detail here that's shared by both stories, a miracle story within a miracle story, and it's that 12 years. So the girl is the very same age, 12, as the number of years that the woman had been suffering. And so I think that these stories are linked here through that detail of 12 years and by being put within each other to tell us a lesson about life and healing. And what I take from this is that life is more than the physical, biological living. I think that life is also about how we live, about what animates us, what gives us life. Because the woman who'd been suffering for 12 years, she was still alive, but she was constantly suffering. And so she had her life given back to her when she was healed. She had the fullness of life given back to her. So just as the girl who was dead and then made alive, so too was the woman who'd been suffering, was made fully alive again. And so the lesson I take from that is that we who follow Christ are called to go and do the same. Now, we're not going to bring dead people to life. That's not how that works, right? There's a lot of theological reasoning behind that, I suppose, but the main thing is just that was Jesus. That was confined to what Jesus did. We don't do that. But God has given us the gifts of our brains and our hands to be doctors, physicians, of administering God's healing power in God's name. And it goes beyond just healing people's physical lives. We are all called to be healers, to give people the fullness of life, to share in the fullness of life. And so we as a church, we are called to go forth into the world and heal people in body, mind, and spirit. That means that we are called to go out and listen to people when they need a listening ear. That is healing. We're called to go and give a meal to someone who is hungry. That is healing. We're called to help people find housing. That is healing. We're called to reach out to the sick with a card, with a call, to help people in their time of need. We're called to go and to advocate for the needs of people, that we can all live in a just society. All of these things are healing. All of these things make us fully alive. And we as a community, as a world, we are not fully alive if any of us suffer. And so we are called to be more fully alive, more fully the image that God has created us to be, by going out and working for that healing, working for justice, peace, and love in the world. So, our faith will make us well. Go and be healed. Go and love. Go and share God's love with the world. Amen.
Amen.